Welcome back to another episode of the Bump and Run podcast. I am your host, Ben Thompson, and as always, I am joined by Charles Norman and Ryan Bush. And welcome to episode 39 of the show. We got a packed one here tonight. We're going to be talking all things week 4. We got a second segment here talking about the head coaches that are might be headed towards the hot seat. We got a couple of them here that we've been talking about for a couple weeks, but we'll get into that here after we talk some week 4. But we're going to finish up the show tonight, highlighting some select Week 5 games, and we'll make our picks at the end like we have been over the last couple weeks. But let's get started here tonight. And before we do, I want to introduce our sponsor, Dr. Squatch. Dr. Squatch is changing the way men approach hygiene by providing all natural, high quality, healthy products that make you feel like a man and smell like a champion. We're talking bar soaps, hair care, colognes, beard oils, and more. New to Dr. Squatch, you can save 10% off orders of $20 or more on your first purchase with promo code DSC Brick 10. That's going to be up on your screen now. Once again, DSC Brick 10. I can confirm that Dr. Squatch has some great products. So go ahead and grab yourself something from them. But let's get into it here tonight, guys. Let's talk some Thursday night football. I know one of the hot topics from Thursday night was the manner in which Tua went down. Nasty injury. It looked really bad at first. But I've been able to watch it back a couple times here, and if you guys know me, you know I'm somebody who doesn't deal well with injuries, and that was a scary one for sure. Bush, when you're watching that game on Thursday night, what was going through your head there as Tua was laying on the turf 5 days after having another potential concussion?
I just think seeing how viciously he was thrown to the ground. I mean, his body, the way it looked in midair as he was just getting dragged down. I mean, he looked like a rag doll getting thrown around. Um, so that was my first indication. And then what everybody saw on the broadcast, um, our viewers may not understand what this means, but when you see his fingers curl inwards like that, it's called the fencing posture. And that is a neurological response to head trauma because he had absolutely no motor skills in that moment. Thankfully, Tua was able to fly home with the Dolphins, and they've ruled him out for this upcoming week against the Jets. But in my honest opinion, he shouldn't have been trotted out there to begin with anyway. You know, the NFL fired the independent neurologist who oversaw him get hurt 2 weeks ago against the Bills. And Ben, like we talked about last week, I've never seen a back injury make somebody appear wobbly as they're walking. And, it's the whole situation was very, very sketchy, in my opinion. But the Dolphins have proved that they're a bit of a shady organization. I mean, this goes back to Brian Flores, this goes back to Stephen Ross, and now you've got this going on. So
Right.
they have a lot they're going to need to answer to here.
Sure. So let's talk about the game as a whole. Charles, T. Higgins had a hell of a game. Big stat line there, had a big 59-yard touchdown. What were your overall takeaways from this game? And do you think that the Bengals might be catching some fire here?
No. I don't think the Bengals would have won if the Dolphins didn't put that poor guy back out there after you said a potential concussion. He had two concussions. He had one on Sunday against the Bills, and then one on. If you watch the injury against the Bills, his hands are yes, definitely should not have played.
Yeah, you're right, Ethan.
Before I
Yeah.
talk about the game, I'm just going to say this: Tua should sue the Dolphins, or the NFLPA should work on his behalf to sue the Dolphins. That coaching staff, especially the head coach, because he's compliant with it, needs to be fired. Stephen Ross, I don't even know if he's allowed to be at the games yet, but he should be have to sell the team. They're gonna kill this guy. Now finally they ruled him out of this game against the Jets, but it's a you don't get a concussion on Sunday or a fucking neck injury on Sunday and play on Thursday. You don't. So I thought the game, like, I didn't even watch the game. I'll be honest. Y'all know I was in Atlanta, so I was like watching some of it, but I didn't watch it consistently. I thought T. Higgins just played like T. Higgins. If you think about it, Jamar Chase wasn't the starter at Super Bowl. It was T. Higgins.
Yeah.
You think about it. I I just don't. I think after the Dolphins, because I think the Dolphins would have won if Tua didn't get hurt. I think after Tua got hurt, I mean Tyreek Hill said the team was on the sideline asking about the status of him. You lose focus on the game when not even one of your teammates, your leader. So whether people want to call him a leader or not, or call him a good quarterback, or whether his arm, it doesn't matter. Those guys in that locker room are going to follow the quarterback.
Oh
And when
yeah.
and when you're starting quarterbacks out or injured, and had to get taken off the field the way Tua had to get taken off the field, and his hands are like this, like Bush said, no motor skills at all. Like you're thinking about that the rest of the game.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
No touchdown, first down, yard, or anything. Sack or interception matters after that. And I think the Miami Dolphins, Brian Flores tried to tell us, and not us because we believed it right away. Brian Flores tried to tell everybody how shady this organization is. Mike McDaniel, I think he's just as shady. Probably why he was hired, because he's a shady guy. He seems shady.
He only showers once a week too.
Well, you can't
uh,
trust him. You can't. You know what? Never mind. Go ahead. Take it off.
yeah. No, I mean, and I knew this is kind of where we were going to go with this game. I mean, the game as a whole, like you said, wasn't really all that great beyond the injury. Like you said, team rallying around their guy. You see what the locker room situation has been like over the first 4 weeks of this season, and kind of how Mike McDaniel has those guys. But yeah, tough look for him, and Teddy Bridgewater came in and didn't play that bad. Go ahead.
And everybody's talking about his first 3 wins. He's got to win against Belichick. He's got to win against Harbaugh, and he's got to win against McDermott. First of all, he's not out there fucking playing against Belichick. Okay, his team was just played a better game. His team barely they shouldn't have won against the Bills, and then his team. Who was the third team that they beat? Harbaugh. They damn sure shouldn't have won that game against the Ravens. Up 35-14 going into the fourth quarter. So let's just come on. This guy was barely an offensive coordinator with the 49ers. He was a quality control guy before that. Well, no, before offensive coordinator, I think he was a position coach. Like, let's be real. Like, he's compliant with whatever the Dolphins are doing.
Right. So, I mean, we'll kind of bury the hatchet on that one. We'll move forward. Let's talk a little bit about the Cowboys and Commanders. Cowboys get it done 25-10. Bush, before I let you speak, I got to say, those Commanders uniforms are sick. I mean, I might be the only one that thinks that, but I really like those. So, what were your thoughts of the game this weekend, man, as Cooper Rush goes to 4-0 as a starter of your team?
Yeah, no, those uniforms didn't look too bad at all, actually. I do have to give Washington a compliment there. Um, but the Cowboys did exactly what I expected them to. Their defense is one of the best in the league. They're running the football north and south. Um, they're doing what they're supposed to be doing right now. Cooper Rush threw a couple of beautiful deep balls down the field to Noah Brown and CeeDee Lamb. I thought Trayvon Diggs proved even more so on Sunday that he's becoming a shutdown corner. I mean, he had a few incredible pass breakups. Not to mention, he also picked Wentz off before the half, his second in the past 2 weeks. Micah played his game. The pressure that they get on the quarterback as a unit is awesome to watch. I mean, when you look at the pass rush formations that Dan Quinn is coming up with for these guys, particularly when he lines Micah and D Law up on the same side, and then you've got Dorrance Armstrong on the other side, who has essentially replaced Randy Gregory for us. They're looking like a beast as a unit out there defensively. Offensively, they're getting the job done. I thought CD looked phenomenal. I really think he woke up after he dropped that wide open pass against the Giants um, 2 Mondays ago at this point. So I think that CD's starting to come into his own. They got Michael Gallup back healthy. They also
Welcome
have
back.
Dalton Schultz back healthy. Yeah, welcome back, MG. So the Cowboys did exactly what I expected them to. Again, not really a very exciting game by any means, but these are the games you need to win throughout the course of the season if you're going to get into the playoffs. I mean, the Cowboys are already 2-0 in the division, and this is
Right.
the division that they have owned under Dak Prescott's tenure so far. So, I'm excited to see how the rest of the season turns out, but I don't think Dak's gonna come back healthy this upcoming week against, the Rams. I just don't think he's ready yet. I don't think he's got a grip on the football as good as he should. Week 6 against Philly is probably looking a little bit more realistic.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, you speak about that defense. 40% of the snaps they were pressuring Wentz. I mean, that's crazy. So, yeah, they got after that ass this week as we kind of thought they would. So, yeah, welcome back, Michael Gallup. Nice touchdown, and Cowboys are 3-1. Charles, your take.
Yeah. Cooper Rush is still their quarterback, but I knew that they would beat that quarterback in Washington. He's just not a good quarterback anymore. He holds the ball way too long. And I said these same things last week when the Eagles sacked him 9 times. So I'm not even like blowing smoke up anybody's ass. I liked how CeeDee Lamb looked. You know, I like how he looked, and that has a lot to do with Michael Gallup. Because that one touchdown when they got to 22 points, he was wide open. I mean, if he'd have dropped that one, he might have got cut. Now, this is the type of shit that Jerry Jones wanted to happen, and I just want to say, Bush, if you think y'all gonna go to Super Bowl or do anything crazy, this is where your owner's gonna kick in. This is the type of shit that Jerry wants because he's already on. That could play this week if they need him to. He could play this week. Jerry's on the radio talking about his hand ain't good enough to squeeze the football, and I wanna, I want a quarterback controversy. No, if we gonna go back to Dak, is that what we want? Like, come on, let's shut the fuck up, Jerry. It's all about money to this guy, and that's money, and then giving it away to hookers. That's all he cares about. So let's just be a little bit. But the defense is really good, although they're not leading the league in sacks anymore. Just to let us know here.
Yeah, no, certainly Cowboys defense looks good. I think that's keeping them in it. Before we move on, I know Jerry just tossed in a question. If Cowboys were in a different division without Dak and they placed some teams other than the Giants and Commanders, do they share the same record?
Um,
I don't know.
Wait a minute, Bush.
Probably.
Hold on. That so what? They're in the NFC East. They can only play who's on their schedule. What the fuck do we want them to do? Go to Buffalo and say, "Play us, motherfuckers." That's not how the football works.
Yeah.
So I sorry, Jerry. You're actually, I was saying to Bush Ben that you're my favorite viewer that we have, but those hypothetical questions they grind my gears because the Cowboys can only play who's on their schedule. They can't say, okay, Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, wake your ass up. We coming to play you tonight. It don't work like that.
Yeah, I hate this strength of schedule metric that they give everybody before the season.
It's bullshit, man. Yeah.
But go ahead, Bush. Your take, just real quick.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no. I'll play devil's advocate here. Jerry, no, I don't think they still have the same division, the same record if they're in a different division. But let's not act like the Giants are a bad team here. Look, they beat the Bears. They're at 3-1. They played us pretty tough. I don't think it really matters who's in our division because right now you have a team that's 4-0 in the Eagles, and you have two teams at 3-1 in the Cowboys and the Giants. So it's a tough division at this particular moment. Will we be saying the same thing a month from now? Who knows? It's the NFL. These things change on a week-to-week basis. But if I'm to play devil's advocate here, no, I don't think they have the same same record if they're in a different division because they're in a different division.
No division has more wins than the NFC East, so let's just remember that.
Yeah, no, that was crazy when they put that up. But let's keep things moving here. Let's talk a little Ravens and Bills. Bills, a 17-point comeback this week. They were down 20-3 at one point in the second quarter, and come away with a big win here in the rainy conditions up in Baltimore. So, Bills look good. I mean, Josh Allen is doing everything he possibly can to keep these guys afloat. And, I guess don't take that out of context. But, Josh Allen's a baller. He's, rushed for 70 yards on the ground, another 220 in the air. So it's just like, This dude is a fighter. So, um, Bush, your overall thoughts on the Bills comeback and the big interception there for Jordan Poyer in the end zone?
Well, credit to Buffalo, because they fought and clawed and scratched their way back into that game. But the Ravens really need to figure out a way to avoid blowing leads at home. This is the second home game in a row. First against Miami, now against Buffalo, in which they have blown multiple possession leads. That can't happen. The Ravens should be looking at 4-0 right now. They really should. And with the way Lamar is playing at an MVP level, I don't know how you could argue otherwise. But Harbaugh's decision to go for it on fourth down instead of kick the field goal there, there's two trains of thought on that. Do I trust my defense enough to give the ball back to Buffalo as they've come storming back? Or do I go for it and really put a nail in the coffin here? Now, I think that's something we can open up for debate. My opinion, you kick the field goal here, send your defense out there, see if they can get a stop. But, these are these self-inflicted wounds we see all across the league every single week. Um, they were up 20-0 against them, and they blew it. So if you're a Ravens fan, you're absolutely sick to your stomach. But, credit to Buffalo. They took advantage of Baltimore's poor decision.
Yeah. And, that's something that, Charles, you were talking about before we came on the show is just some of the decisions by Harbaugh. I was harping on that shit last year towards the end of the season, these going for twos and this risky shit when you got points on the board. You got a guy like Justin Tucker, you're going to get points, uh, you know. So I guess talk a little further on that.
I thought his decision, and this is why I say all the time, analytics is messing up sports. Period. It's not just football, baseball too. Being a Phillies fan, analytics messed up this team. Not to share, but the last 3 years or 4 years beyond. And you just got to take the points there. And Harbaugh's explanation at the end is you don't want to give them a chance because now if you kick the field goal, they got a chance to go up the field 4 downs each. They get 4 tries. And I'm like, the game is played differently than it would be if you're up 23-20 versus 20-20. I think Harbaugh just told us that he didn't trust his defense, but you got to trust him enough to give him a lead at the end. Make the Bills score a touchdown. It's a lot harder to score a touchdown than it is to kick a field goal, you know? So you're sitting there up, instead of being up 23-20, you call a play, which I'm sorry, you got Lamar Jackson. I'm not doing no fucking pass play. You're doing something, keep the ball in his hands, let him run the ball. If you're going for it on fourth down. Nobody likes to go for it on fourth down more than me. That's my shit. That's just how I roll. However, take the 3 right there, go up 23-20. Your defense just got to get one stop. Because what you did was put them in field position with Lamar throwing that pick, and he's not off the hook here either. And I know, like, the Dolphins game, obviously I'm in Baltimore most of my time. The Dolphins game was despicable. This game was despicable too, up 20. However, the Ravens didn't score a point in the second half.
Nope.
So I think there's more to it than that. And I also wanted to say Marcus Peters trying to go after his coach. Get your shit together. Like,
Right.
get it together, dude. You upset. Get a stop.
Right.
And Harbaugh showed his defense, which is half his team, that he didn't trust them. And now Marcus Peters is showing that he don't trust Harbaugh. And that can spell out a big problem for Baltimore, which I think they should be 4-0. I think they very well could be the best team in the AFC. They could.
It's just weird, you don't have that.
And they should be. Sorry.
Right. You don't have those same strong Baltimore defenses that we've become accustomed to here in the early goings of our fandom, at least. But the Bills defense looks good too. Everybody knows it. They're 8 straight games now holding their opponents to under 300 yards, which is pretty damn impressive. So J.K. Dobbins, I thought, looked pretty good this weekend. He had a couple nice touchdown runs. So if you're in fantasy, he might be a guy that you look to add to your roster. I know I've had him on the bench here over the last few weeks, trying to see when he's going to come back and make an impact, and now I might be able to rely on him. So let's keep things moving here. Let's talk a little Eagles and Jaguars. The Eagles win this one 29-21. Jags take the early 14-0 lead, and it was really the first time that we've seen the Eagles have to, face some type of adversity this season. First, pick six to start the game. That's a tough look. But Charles, talk a little bit about those 4-0 Eagles and your takeaways from the game.
Did it really look like adversity? Like nobody on the Eagles was even like. It seemed like they didn't even care. They weren't worried. There was nothing.
No, but you still down 14 points, which in the
In the first
NFL,
quarter,
it's
football is 60 minutes.
I
60
know.
minutes in football, and it was the first quarter. They shot off 29 straight points after that. The Jags, who I was honestly, if I can admit, I was indifferent in this game. If the Jaguars would have won, I would have been 0% mad. I do think the coach that's coaching the Jaguars should still be the coach of the Eagles, so I'll just let that be known. Only Super Bowl winning head coach in Eagles history. Andy Reid got 8 more years after he lost the Super Bowl that he should have won. But I think Jalen Hurts, I think the Eagles in general have won. They're 4-0, and they won these games 4 different ways. And this week was the first week where you really had to, because everyone's talking about Jalen Hurts, can his arm do it? Well, his arm did it the first 3 weeks. This week was the first week where they had to win the game with the run game, and that was because of the weather. Defense played lights out. I think this is the third straight week that we got an NFC Defensive Player of the Week on our team. Hassan Reddick with 2 strip sacks. The Eagles forced 5 turnovers in this game. Sacked. I think they sacked Trevor Lawrence 4 times this week. The whole defense looked good. I'm wondering because people are saying the Eagles haven't beaten anybody. So they beat the Vikings, which I don't even remember the score of the game. I think it was like 24-7.
Yep.
Or something like that. So the Vikings were never really in that game. They're number 1 in the NFC North right now. The Jaguars, if I'm not mistaken, are still number 1 in the AFC South, or tied with Tennessee. And they'll beat Houston this week. And they beat the shit out of, the Chargers, who a lot of people were picking to beat the Chiefs last week. I get it. We play Arizona this week. They haven't won there in a long time. I think people need to start respecting the Eagles. I think I need to start respecting the Eagles because I was very, very borderline whether the Eagles could win. I just want to give Miles Sanders a shout out because he really deserves it. Y'all know I don't really talk a lot of good stuff about him. I still think we should trade for Kareem Hunt, but he had his best game as an Eagle the other day and showed that he could be a bell cow back. He had 134 yards, which is his all-time high rushing in his 4 years. You look at Trey Sermon, they sprinkled him in there. And then Shane Steichen, I got to give him a lot of credit for adjusting the game. Adjusting the game plan to what the game – because they want to throw the ball. They want to throw the ball. Every team wants to throw the ball, and they couldn't. You just can't in that weather. So,
Right. Bush, I'm going to throw a comment up here and just kind of ask you to talk about it a little bit from the Jaguars' perspective. Doug looks to be using the same playbook that he used in 2016 with Carson Wentz. What do you think of the Jaguars? Even though they lost, they have a big matchup here in division this week. Let's not write them off completely yet, right?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Look, they went up against the best team in the NFC right now, the best team in the entire league, if we're being completely honest. So no, I'm not quite ready to write off Jacksonville. While I do agree that it does seem like Doug Peterson is using the same playbook for Trevor Lawrence this year as he did with Carson Wentz back in 2016. You got to remember that Wentz and Lawrence are 2 completely different quarterbacks as well. Wentz is a little bit more reckless. Lawrence, I wouldn't exactly say is reckless, but he's still a young quarterback in this league. But I would agree because Doug Peterson is very good at simplifying his game plan for his quarterbacks. He puts them in an advantageous position. And I think he gets that because he's of the Andy Reid school of head coaching. Andy Reid does the best he can to get the best out of all of his quarterbacks and all of his offensive weapons. And I think you're seeing Doug Peterson do that here with Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk. They have ETN and James Robinson in the backfield. So I think that Jacksonville's doing everything they can here to stay afloat, but they're serious. I still think that they are a very good team, but they're still young, and like I said, they went up against arguably the best team in all the league. So, um, for Jaguars fans to go into panic mode, I wouldn't exactly agree with that. The weather conditions were shitty, and I'm not making excuses here, but Philly came back and punched them in the mouth pretty good. If anything, I think it'll be a learning experience. So
Right. Right.
So I'm going to comment on that too. The 2016 playbook was a developmental playbook for a rookie quarterback. Trevor
Correct.
Lawrence, I'm going to count this as his rookie year because he had Urban Meyer as his head coach last year. He had no developmental skills. And I'm just looking at the comments. Yeah, we do need another back. Hunt would be actually good for the Eagles because when we need a yard, none of those backs on that roster right now who play consistently. So there's 3 backs actually that are on the active roster, not 4. You got Kenny Gainwell, Boston Scott, and then Miles Sanders. Who's getting you a yard when you need it? Miles Sanders is going to dance in the backfield, and the other 2 just aren't that yard, get you a yard type of guy. So thank you, but no. What?
All right, so let's keep it moving here. Let's talk some Patriots Packers. It was supposed to be the Brian Hoyer coming out party here for the Patriots this weekend. He leaves the game with 5 minutes left in the first quarter, and you get a look at Bailey Zappi coming in after I kind of said last week, like, yeah, you don't want to throw the rookie in. Well, here he is getting some meaningful time against a tough opponent in the Packers at Lambeau. So, the Patriots held their own this weekend. Rookie Jack Jones, big pick 6 off of Aaron Rodgers, made him look fucking silly. Loved every second of that. And the Patriots defense, they won't go away. They stood strong. They they backed their guys, and they were able to stay in it for the entirety of the game. And I was texting back and forth with you guys a little bit. It wasn't like I don't know. I'm not super upset about the loss. Like, yeah, I hate when the Patriots lose, but they held their own this weekend, and I was happy with the outcome of the game, even though it was a loss. There was some questionable play calling there on some third downs, some stuff in the overtime. It's just like, Charles, him and I were talking about it before the show, and I agree with him. He said, a couple of those third downs, you would have seen some different stuff there if it was Josh McDaniels holding the play chart. So tough one for the Patriots. We knew it would be tough. Packers were favored by 10 in that game, and they only win by a field goal. So, like I said, I'm not too super upset by this. You come to expect these kind of things when your quarterback of the future goes down. Bush, I think you could speak to that. And your guy is outplaying what everybody was expecting. So before I give the rest of my thoughts, Bush, I'll toss it over to you. Talk a little bit about the Patriots and Packers.
I thought that this was the most entertaining game of the weekend, and it didn't really start off that way, but man, what a second half and overtime period. Ben, like you mentioned, you don't ever like to see the Patriots lose because you're a Patriots fan, and I know there's no such thing as moral victories in the NFL, but if I'm a Pats fan, I'm really encouraged, even after Hoyer went down, with how well Bailey Zapp was able to keep you guys in there. Um, Now, a lot of people will argue that this should have been a delay of game penalty, but
Oh
he
my God.
threw I mean, Romo is right. 3 seconds came off the clock there that wasn't shown on TV before that ball was snapped.
Yeah.
But if any hey, look, that's on the officiating crew. You can't get mad at the Patriots for that. So, and I believe he threw that touchdown pass to Devontae Parker.
Yep.
Yeah. So, look, he was 10 of 14 or 10 of 15 for 99 yards and a touchdown. He didn't turn the ball over. Maybe took some sacks he shouldn't have. But then again, when you have Kenny Clark coming up the middle and a number of other pass rushers that Green Bay possesses, you're going to have a tough time going up against them.
Yeah.
Rodgers, bonehead interception before the half. But then again, I think that's him trying to get on the same page and develop chemistry with some of his receivers. But boy, did he step it up in the second half. I mean, threw a beautiful touchdown pass to Robert Tonyan right up the seam. And then that back shoulder touchdown to Romeo Dobbs was just incredible. I mean, listen, nobody slings it like Aaron Rodgers. I just it's unbelievable. But, it was a good game. It was a really good game all around, but New England didn't roll over. I mean, they came back and answered on a few beautiful drives. They mixed in the ground game with some play action. They looked good. And I know the whole theme here for New England has been, well, who's calling the plays? Is it McDaniels? Is it
Yeah.
Patricia? Is it Bell? Look, let's let's put that to rest. Yes, they lost, but they didn't roll over, especially after the backup quarterback went down.
Yeah. No, they rallied around the guy, and like I said, I was appreciative of the fact that it was even close. My dad, big Patriots fan as well. I texted him after it and just basically said, look, I'm normally pretty pissed off when the Patriots lose, but given the circumstances, like I texted you guys a couple times, this could have got pretty ugly on the road. So, Charles, I know you're going back and forth here with the boys in the comments, but what was your take here on the Packers and Patriots game this weekend?
I'm having fun with the engagement with our viewers. They're great.
Yeah, keep it coming, guys. You're
Yeah.
amazing.
They've been great. I love it. So it goes back to what I've been saying all off season, because I think the Patriots should have won this game. Actually, in game, they should have won it. And they just don't have a coach that can scheme something up on a critical play. There are multiple third downs, third and shorts, I might add, where the play never developed, and even if the quarterback had 12 seconds, to wait, the play probably would have never developed. And some of these plays, you just have to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands fast. Help your rookie quarterback out. Slide the protection to help him out. He was having trouble from that right side. Was I think it's Zadarius Smith, who was just on his ass a couple of times in that game.
Yeah, our guy Isaiah Wynn is a fucking schmuck, and I was kind of hoping they would have cut his ass after the game.
Yeah, but at the same time, you used it was helpful when they brought that extra tackle out there instead of bringing a tight end. You don't need you have a good group of receivers there. I was happy to see Devontae Parker score. I thought the Patriots should have won this game. I didn't pick them to win the game before, but I thought any game, I was rooting for them to win. I thought that they would win. Aaron one and done shouldn't have won that game. My favorite part of the game, quite frankly, is Belichick snapping out.
Oh
my God, it's
the
weekly.
headset.
It's weekly.
Yeah.
The headset. But this one, what are you doing? What are you doing?
That was arguably.
Yeah,
I've never seen him that mad. Oh God.
Because they raised the play clock, which Green Bay was about 4 seconds away from getting a delay game, and they weren't even ready. So that would have made a big difference in that next play. I think I like this rookie quarterback. I do. Mac better get his ankle together, because if this guy, well, I won't even worry about it this year because they don't have a coach that can develop him. There's nobody on that team that can develop him or Mac Jones right now. They just don't have it. And I think that this was a game where I think, like I said to you before the show, Ben, I think that the Patriots could be 3-1 right now, and they're not.
Yeah. I was, we'll get to the next game here shortly, but, you see a guy like Matt Nagy is on the Chiefs sideline. I'm like, damn, he did pan out as a head coach, but it might be nice to see him at the helm there for some Patriots play calling. Some of the shit that Patricia's calling, you just knew it was going to be a run with Stevenson or Harris. I mean, shit, I could have told you that before they even broke the huddle. So, it's nice to see those guys toting the rock and looking good in doing so. But, by no means should Packer fans feel very comfortable about this victory, man. I mean, one of my good buddies from high school, he's a big Packers fan. I texted him, I was like, hey, man, good game. And he was like, no, it was shit. I'm like, yeah, maybe for you, Packers, it's not something that, was too super impressive, but
they're not a good team. They're not a good team. So I don't know what he's saying is shit for. You take everyone that you can get.
Right. Oh, for sure. But let's wrap that one up. We'll talk about our teams here more in the third segment here when we're talking about Week 5. But let's real quickly talk about the Chiefs and Buccaneers. Chiefs get it done 41-31 over the Bucks. Buccaneers playing catch up most of the game. Only 4 rushes at one point by the Buccaneers offense, man. They were just living and dying by that pass from Brady. And, we've seen in instances in the past where, that it goes stale after a while. So Chiefs offense looked good. Mahomes extending plays, doing the magic bullshit that he always does. The schoolyard 360s and sidearms and you name it. But one of the things that I really took away from the game, and Charles, we talk about it all the time. I'm a big defense guy. Steve Spagnuolo had those boys ready. L'Jarius Sneed had a great game, and that Chiefs defense was on Brady's ass most of the night. So, quick thoughts on this one from you, Bush.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. It looked like a 5-star matchup on paper leading up to it. But Mahomes absolutely balled out, as did Travis Kelce, as did their entire offense. Um, I have a hot take here. I think that what is going on in Tom Brady's personal life right now is really going to affect him. Now, I could be wrong about that, and I really hope I am because I would like to see Brady have a great rest of this season because I truly do think he will retire after this year. But there's no ignoring that, and I'm sure that's something we can discuss a little later. But the Bucks just don't look right on offense. I think they're having a hard time trying to figure it out. Um, you know, Todd Bowles is a defensive-minded head coach. Bruce Arians was no risk it, no biscuit. Two completely different philosophies. Now, yes, they did retain Byron Leftwich as their offensive coordinator, but it just seems like they're having trouble getting going. Like you mentioned, Ben, only 4 carries for them at one point. They were playing catch up the entire game. Yes, I understand that, but not a lot of balance on that Bucks offense right now. So I wish it was a tighter contested game, but it's what it is. I'm sure we'll be seeing these two teams again at some point. So
Right. Yeah. Well, if we do, it's going to be in the big one, and I don't know that we're getting to that point here at anytime soon. So, Charles, your thoughts on the game quickly?
Look, if his personal life is affecting him, then I need the Bucks fans want his personal life to affect him some more because this was his best game of the season. This game was 0% on that Buccaneers offense. Their defense gave up 41 points. If you score 31 points in the NFL, you should win.
Yeah, supposed to be the best defense in the league.
Yeah, I mean they've disappeared. I agree, but they just completely disappeared. And I've shared my disdain with defensive head coaches, where especially if they were the defensive coordinator before, they just lose track of that defense because they have to manage the whole team. But Brady played his best game of the season. We know what's going on in his personal life, allegedly. But I thought he played a good game. I thought, yeah, Byron Leftwich needs to give Leonard Fournette some more carries to help his 45-year-old quarterback out. I mean, and just I'm not trying to be a Brady defender here, but don't
Let's
let
hear.
it go unannounced that this guy really hurt his shoulder in that game.
Oh yeah,
Early
he
on.
got leveled.
And it happened before I went to sleep. So that was before halftime. So
Yeah, that was on the L'Jarius Sneed play that I'm
yeah.
thinking
When
about
he
earlier.
blitzed,
Yeah.
the cornerback blitz when he fumbled.
Yep.
And that was before I went to sleep because y'all know I went to sleep before halftime on this game because I just do that. But I thought that the defense, and Todd Bowles said it correctly, the defense couldn't stop nothing out there, and that was on him.
Yeah. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to.
I think last week against the Packers, Bush, you're 100% right. This is supposed to be the greatest quarterback of all time, and he don't know what a play clock is. In his own stadium,
In the end zone, no less, right in front
in
of
the
him.
end zone, he's looking right at it, Bush.
yeah, and listen, let me clarify something I said before. Brady, Charles, you're right. Absolutely played his best game of the season by far, but there just seems to be a little bit of dysfunction on that offense, and I don't know why.
Well, you know what? Well, another thing is they're finally getting their guys back too, because remember they got injured, and you dealing with something as alleged as big as Brady is. I'm pretty sure that would,
Not that I ever like to dig too deep into somebody's personal life, but you can't really tell the story of Tom Brady without Gisele Bundchen, in my opinion. because of how long they've been married for. And man, it's a sad thing. It's a really, really sad thing if you think about it.
Well, you better get ready to write a new book because she ain't gonna be there in the next chapter.
Charles always keeping it.
This man, this man's about to uproot his entire family just to prove Adam Schefter wrong.
Yeah, right. I mean,
No, but in all
God,
seriousness,
Yeah.
I hope they can work it out. I agree with you.
yeah,
That when that came out, like, but the crazy thing is, I knew it was gonna happen, but
Right.
you just don't. I don't like it, but
That kind of
let's
shit
move
takes a
on.
toll, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely,
But
absolutely.
but at least he's
so
got his trainer. I'm sure his trainer's keeping him well mentally. So
little Guerrero treatment. Oh shit. Let's keep things moving here, guys. I'm gonna just kind of briefly run us down through the rest of the scores from this week. Over in London, you had the Vikings over the Saints 28-25. Will Lutz is the new double doink king. Seahawks 48-45 over the Lions. That is a scoregami. If you know what that is, I appreciate you. Jets get it done this weekend 24-20 over the Steelers. Kenny Pickett finally makes his debut after a poor start by the Steelers offense and Matt Canada. Kenny comes in, throws a pick on his first pass, 3 total for the game. He scored 2 touchdowns on the ground, but it wasn't enough to get it done this weekend for the Steelers. I think they got themselves in a world of trouble here coming up with their next 6 games. They got Buffalo, Tampa, Packers. I mean, it's going to be a rough stretch here for the Steelers. Giants go to 3-1, 20-12 over the Bears. Barkley, another 146 on the ground. Justin Fields sacked 6 times. Get the Bears the fuck out of here. They suck ass this year. Fields 11 completions. Just terrible by the Bears. And I won't pick them again this year. I've picked them twice now this year, and it's just like, god damn. So Titans get it done 24-17 over the Colts. Derrick Henry has one of those 100-yard games. Shout out for a big man interception on the defensive line there. This seemed to be a week of concussions, though. You had Shaq Leonard come back in his debut and get a concussion. Isaiah McKenzie left the game with a concussion in the Bills game. Several concussions this weekend. Chargers 34, Texans 24. Eckler gets 3 touchdowns, so decent showing from him. Falcons win it over the Browns in a close one after Jacoby Brissett throws a back-breaking interception there in the last minute of the game. Browns defense is at a loss there without Myles Garrett. T's and P's to him after rolling over the exotic car here this week. But Amari Cooper held to only 1 catch for 9 yards. I know he's somebody that we've been talking about here over the last few, but rough look for him this weekend. Cardinals 26, Panthers 16. Nothing too impressive there. Raiders 32, Broncos 23. Josh Jacobs had a hell of a game, 144 yards. And the Raiders are finally in the win column, but they got a tough one here Monday night against the Chiefs. And the last game of the week there was the Niners and the Rams. And 24-9. Niners get it done. Shout out to you, Charles. That Niners defense was hungry. I will go ahead and throw up those week 4 finals. Do keep in mind, I know I fucked up on the Bills Ravens game there, but there are our picks, and there are the final scores for week 4. And let me go ahead and just throw us back up here because we're over 500. 2 of us are. So, Bush, you're getting there, buddy.
Hopefully, this is the week. Yeah.
You guys both had a hell of a week. I think we all did a nice little bounce back after last week. I mean,
those are playoff numbers.
Yeah, right. Last week was it was a shit show. So good to be back in the positive column, I will say. But guys, before we move on to week 5 and some Thursday night football, let's go ahead and talk about a new segment here this week. Some of the head coaches that might be on the hot seat here. Now, there are a couple that we could talk about here in the early going. I'll turn it over to Charles here first because I know he's going to name the guy that we're all thinking of. And let's hear your take on it, man.
So there was a lot of coaches that we could have talked about here. Maybe not, actually. There's one coach. Well, if the Raiders were lost, I would have said Josh McDaniels. However, there's one coach that we've been talking about, I feel like every week, who he doesn't even deserve our energy. But let's go ahead and say the Carolina Panthers head coach, Matt Fool. Yeah, look at him. Looking like a fool. That's his name, Matt Fool. Hasn't been good since he left Temple.
he looks he
Maybe I'm
looks confused as all hell there.
yeah, and he is confused as all hell. And you know what? It doesn't help that he has Baker Mayfield as his quarterback. Like we said, that guy would suck. But yeah, he's. What did we say? Over under week 11.
I gave it week 10, and that's looking a
Okay.
little bit generous at this point.
Yeah, he might be going next. He might be going tomorrow morning. I mean, if I was the owner, I'd have fired him after the last game.
Yeah, I don't know why they're keeping him around. Jerry, he did come up from Baylor, but since he's been in the league, I think he's got like 11 wins or some shit like that, 11 and 27 or something.
He came up from Baylor, but Baylor was a shit show after a while there. Temple, if he would stay there, he was building a really, really, really good program at Temple. And he probably should have stayed there for a little while. But I get it. The money called him.
Bush, your thought on a head coach that might be feeling that seat warm up a little bit?
So Matt Rule was definitely my first choice. I don't think there's any question about it. Carolina's a disaster, but I'm gonna say Frank Reich. Um, and it's such a shame because Frank Reich is a wonderful guy, a fantastic head coach, but I think he's gonna fall victim to the fact here that Indy has had no stability at quarterback whatsoever since he has become their head coach. And Naheem Hines actually he nailed it on the head. After their loss, he basically said, "Look, we haven't had any stability at quarterback. Matt Ryan has fumbled a bunch of times this year. They've got no cohesion. I mean, when you go from Andrew Luck to Jacoby Brissett to Philip Rivers to Carson Wentz to now Matt Ryan, I mean, you need to have some stability at the most important position in sports. I mean, the Titans have had Tannehill for a long time. That it looks like the Texans have a bright future with Davis Mills. The Colts just can't seem to figure it out at the quarterback position. And Naheem Hines had a perfect quote after the game. I don't exactly remember what he said specifically, um, but I think that it has played a big factor into their slow starts, their lack of chemistry, their close games. I mean, they need to figure it out. So if I'm Frank Reich, look, you're looking at 1-2 and 1 right now. I think that they'll win a couple more games this year, but man, it's looking really tough on them right now. Unless Matt Ryan can find a way to get it going, because they do have one of the better offensive lines in the league. They're just not showing it. And Jonathan Taylor has not looked like the same back he did last year. So
Yeah, no, and I would agree with both of those takes as well. For mine, I'm gonna go ahead and say Ron Rivera. It's tough because I like Ron Rivera, but he's in a bad situation there in Washington, and it's just not seeming to get any better for him. He hasn't really done so hot, since he left the Panthers, but Washington is a little bit of a mess right now as well. Colts are a bit of a mess, and Washington's still trying to figure things out. But I just don't see, I don't see it being a good overall season for them this year. It's been a bit of a dust up so far. So, with that being said, we'll kind of end the segment here, and we'll move on to Thursday night football. We got a bit of a laugher here this Thursday night, and I know it's a little bit early to offer our picks, and I know I'm surprising you guys by going Colts, but I can't go with Russell Wilson. I can't do it, man.
You want to ride?
Nah, no riding.
he's
Let's go
so
Colts,
corny.
baby. So, Broncos favored by 3 in this one. It's in Denver at Great Value Stadium now, as the Waltons have purchased the Denver Broncos. I'm just joking, but
I was like, what the hell?
nah. But your take on the Thursday night football game, Charles? You didn't even know who was playing until we had to
Yeah, I
text
don't
you
got to
about it.
take. You know, I'm not even gonna. I don't got to take. I'm serious. I picked the Colts to win this division, but I did say in my defense that Dougie P will have his team ready. But yeah, fuck this game.
Fair enough.
It'll
Yeah,
be a
you know what?
college game. If a
Right.
college game's on, I'll watch that.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that boat as
I
well.
don't want to keep hearing Kirk. And I'm sorry, Al Michaels is fantastic, but Kirk Herbstreit, mm, not feeling it
Yeah, we
at
might have
all.
to talk about that instead of the game.
And I
Yeah.
said this before the season. I just didn't think that he would be. That's what it's been to me. Just he's missing so many opportunities that Chris Collinsworth would have picked up with Al. You know,
Right, right. Bush, you're going Broncos. Give us a quick take on the game, and we'll move on to some games that matter.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that this is going to be a very exciting game. I mean, just look at the matchup. Nathaniel Hackett and Denver's offense can't quite seem to figure it out, and you could argue that he may even be on the hot seat if that continues.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say him as well for sure.
yeah, exactly. But I'm going to take Denver in this just because the Colts continuously find ways to shoot themselves in the foot. I think it'll be a close game, but not a very exciting one. So I'm going to go ahead and take Denver here.
Hell yeah. I am rolling Colts. No real specific reason other than the fact that I want to differentiate myself a little bit from you guys. I don't know how well the Broncos defense holds up in this one. Um, Look, these Colts beat the Chiefs, so anything is possible in this league any given week. But let's put up some games that actually matter. Actually, I don't even have the week 5 game, so I apologize. But let's
Well, good.
do let's do a little you know
want to do some
we'll,
rapid fire here?
yeah, let's do some rapid fire. So let's talk Lions Patriots. Lions Patriots is going to be a little different than normal. Patriots are normally about to smack the shit out of these guys, but it's only a 3-point game here this weekend. Patriots wearing those red throwbacks that we've talked about here on a previous show. But I'm gonna roll. I'm gonna roll Patriots this weekend. Who you guys taking?
I'm taking the Lions.
Oh, man. This is a very tough one because I actually think this is going to be a sneaky good game. I'm going to take the Lions as well, though. I think if they get Amon-Ra St. Brown and DeAndre Swift back healthy this week, then they've got a much better shot. But goddamn, what a shootout from last week between the
Yeah,
Seahawks and the Lions.
yeah,
Their games are so much fun to watch, man.
right. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe that game got that out of hand. If 48-45 was the final there, but let's go ahead and talk about you guys' teams as well. We got Cowboys Rams. I know that's I believe it's a 4.5-point favorite here for in favor of the Rams. Bush, talk a little bit about this matchup as it's a road game at SoFi.
Yeah, I think that this is going to be the biggest test for the Cowboys so far this season. Mind you, it's still young. We're only heading into week 5. Um, I'm going to take the Cowboys here, not because I'm being a homer, but because I don't like what I see from the Rams. I think the Rams are way too one-dimensional. We saw that last night against the 49ers. It's what we've talked about for the last couple of weeks now. They've got Cooper Kupp, and that's really about it on that offensive side of the ball. Allen Robinson is a good receiver, and for him to only get 2 or 3 looks per game, I don't understand how you can justify that exactly. Um, I don't understand it for the life of me. And yes, Jerry, I agree. I don't know how the Rams can be favored either here, but I think that has a lot to do with the fact that we're going to be on the road in SoFi. I don't see it being a particularly easy game. It's going to be a close game. I don't think there's any question about that. But as I mentioned earlier, Dak's not going to come back this week. It's it would be pushing it if Cooper Rush keeps playing this way. It only buys them more time to make sure that he's healthy because the Cowboys still have a very good fighting chance here. So I'm going to take the Cowboys. But again, it's not going to be an easy game whatsoever.
Charles, your take on this game?
Yeah, the Cowboys got a guard that's going to be going up against Aaron Donald. He's going to beat the shit out that old man. I'm going to go ahead and pick the Rams. I think Aaron Donald single-handedly is going to win this game. And I said that against the Bengals in the Super Bowl, but I do think that he's going to single-handedly win this game. So I'm going with the Rams.
Yeah, I'm going to go Rams as well. I think again, Charles, you just nailed it there. That's exactly what I was going to say, man. I think that Rams defense shows up. The Cowboys look hot as it stands right now, but they're going to have a tough one this weekend. I know the Rams have kind of been a one-trick pony here thus far with Cooper Cup. And, actually, fun fact about Cooper Cup, he has more receptions than Justin Fields has completions.
I
Cooper Cup
saw that.
Cooper Cup has 42
Way.
receptions, and Justin Fields has 34 completions. So, and this is entering week 5 of an NFL season. I mean, that's just absurd.
That's not good. That's really not good. Yeah, the Bears have some developmental issues at quarterback there. So
Right. So let's talk a little bit Steelers Bills. I know this isn't going to be no 5-star matchup. It's a 14-point swing here between these two teams, but they always play close. I've been to a Steelers Bills game. It's a great atmosphere. It's going to be up in Buffalo this weekend. But Bush, what is your take here this weekend on this game? I think it might be a little bit closer than 14 points.
yeah, I think it'll definitely be closer than 14 points, but I think the transition the Steelers are now facing from going with Trubisky to now Kenny Pickett, that's going to take a little bit of time. And I think it was the right call, probably done a week or two later than it should have been done. Um, but Buffalo's going to get after Kenny Pickett this weekend. I think that McDermott's going to throw everything he can at him to try and test him, and I'm going to take the Bills in this game as well.
How's your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, the Bills won.
Yeah, that's an easy one. I think Bills win this game as well. By no means do I think it'll be like super close, like field goal type shit. I think the Bills are going to just be too much for the Steelers. Like I said, the Steelers have a tough path here over the next few weeks, and it's not getting any easier heading into Bills Mafia territory. So let's talk a little bit about the Eagles and Cardinals game. I know, fun fact about that one, Charles, you mentioned Eagles have not won in Arizona since
2001.
2001. So go ahead and give us a little bit of a take on this game, if you will. And I'm going to step away here for a second, and I'll be right back.
So yeah, Kyler Murray, they had a good game against the who they played this week? The Panthers.
The Carolina Panthers.
The Panthers. Yeah, they had a pretty good. He had a pretty good game. I still think that Raiders game sticks out to me about how good of a quarterback Kyler Murray can be, and then on top of that, the Eagles are 0-5 at the Cardinals' current stadium. It just really. I was about to say Sun Belt, and that was their old stadium.
Yeah. I can't
Sun
think
Devil,
of the
sorry.
name of their. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God, what's the name of their stadium? Ben will tell us when he gets back. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I'm sure he'll know exactly.
But yeah, they haven't won there. It's 0-5. You go back to that NFC Championship game in 08, and then, well, technically 09, but you go further than that, they've lost all 5 games at that stadium. And then I'm not even counting the games that go back to 01. I think the Eagles showed that they're a resilient football team. We're dealing with some injuries now. So for all the people who got on AJ Brown's case about him not tackling that cornerback on that, or that player on that pick six play, and then blaming him for Jordan Mailata getting injured. Jordan Mailata's fat ass shouldn't have dived in the fucking rain like that. Just let him go. It's 7 points in the beginning of the game. You're going to beat them. You end up scoring 29 points unanswered. So I'm not blaming AJ Brown at all. Jordan Mailata's fat ass shouldn't have done it. But with all that being said, with Mailata gone, the Eagles just signed a kicker today because Jake Elliott also there was a roughing the kicker in that game. He got hurt. The Eagles defense, I don't know how much longer they'll be able to hold on with Avonte Maddox in a walking boot. Darius Slay is injured, but I'm going to go ahead and pick the Eagles to win this game. What do you think, Bush?
Yeah, I'm going to take Philly as well. Look, I know they got really banged up against Jacksonville last week. Jake Elliott, Darius Slay, Mailata, a couple other injuries here as well. But, I think that the Eagles have a lot of depth, particularly along the defensive line. And I think they've got a fantastic secondary as well. You still got James Bradbury back there too. But Kyler's, again, he's too reckless of a quarterback, in my opinion. And I think Philly is too well coached to allow this game to get out of hand at any point. So I'm going to take the Eagles in this one. I think it'll be, I don't want to say it'll be a close game because I really do think that the Eagles are going to take it to Arizona. Um, but I see Philly going up 5-0 here. I mean, they're just the best team in the NFC. I really don't know how you can, if I'm being as objective here as possible, it's the only way to put it, man. I mean, they're top tier above everybody else. They're
You think
better
they're
than
gonna go
Tampa Bay.
5-1?
Huh?
You think they're gonna go 5-1?
I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see.
Yeah, big matchup here next week, guys. So I'm looking forward to that one. But yeah, as far as this week, I'm going to roll Eagles as well. I haven't been too impressed here with the Cardinals this far. So, by no means do I think they are going to give the Eagles a bunch of trouble here, regardless of the stadium, regardless of the Eagles' past, you know, statistical efforts there, if you will. But yeah, I'm going to roll Eagles this weekend as well. And another one that we'd like to talk about here and highlight this weekend is the Sunday night football game. It's going to be a good one between the Bengals and the Ravens. That's a big AFC North matchup, and that is going to be in Baltimore. So, Bush, go ahead and give me your take on the Ravens and the Bengals this Sunday night.
So I'm inclined to pick the Bengals here because Joe Burrow absolutely threw all over them last year. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to take Baltimore, and I'm going to take Baltimore because I think that they have learned their lesson as far as blowing leads at home against Miami and Buffalo previously this week. And I don't think they'll do it again. It's Sunday Night Football. They've got a division rival in the AFC champions coming to town. And I don't think that they're going to let this game get away from them. So I think the Ravens win by 7, but Cincinnati, I think it's going to be a high scoring game. I mean, neither defense is particularly good. So I'm going to take Baltimore in this game.
Charles, who you got this weekend, man? Hang on, you're on mute, buddy.
I got Baltimore winning. Baltimore gonna win. That's my boss says his aunt. Baltimore like that. Baltimore. I think Baltimore gonna win. If you look at Lamar, they got putting the camera on him last week after he threw that pick, and I just think he in his head because remember he's playing for a check right now. He gonna come out there and whoop the shit out the Bengals. So I'm gonna stand on that. And next week when we talk, I'm gonna celebrate myself for saying that he's gonna whoop the shit out of him.
Hey, I've been.
And hold on, Ben. And then
Go
Ben's
ahead.
gonna remind me because I'm not gonna remember that I said that he's gonna whoop the shit out of him. And Ben's gonna be like, "You said he's gonna whoop the shit out of him."
Oh yeah,
Oh, I'll remember too. Yeah.
yeah. We'll make sure we clip that one. But I'm gonna go with the Bengals here in this one. Tough road game, but Bush, you hit the nail on the head there. Burrow came out and threw it all over the field against him last year. And don't get me wrong. This is a great matchup. I think it has a potential to be a shootout, but that Ravens defense just hasn't sold me yet, man. And I think that could be a determining factor in this game. You look at the Bengals offense and that high powered receiving core. When you have guys like Jamar Chase and T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd and just different guys that you can spread it around to, um, you know, even Mixon, the Bengals have quite an array of different things they can do, and I'm not sold on the Ravens defense, so I am going to roll with the Bengals this weekend. But I think that is it for our feature games, and we already talked the Thursday night football, so let's go ahead and here just throw up the Week 5 matchups. I do have them now, so. Giants Packers. It's going to be a Sunday morning affair over in London. It's going to be a 9:00 or 9:30 start time. Packers favored by 8.5. Who you guys taking this week? Packers or Giants? Yeah, Packers. I think that's a go-to. Bush will probably say Giants because he's a big Giants homer.
Picks them every week.
No, actually, I'm going to take Green Bay this week. I really, I am.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to take Green Bay this week.
Yeah, that's a fair choice this week, man. How about Seattle and the Saints? The Saints are actually favored here, 5.5 over the Seahawks. Geno Smith has looked pretty damn good lately, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. That's why I'm picking the Seahawks because Geno's look good.
Yeah,
I'm
and
going
you
to
got
take
Andy
Seattle
Dalton
as
over
well.
there too. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, let's not forget that Jameis Winston was injured as well. So
yeah. He's a little banged up. Nobody's really too sure what's going on with Alvin Kamara and kind of what his situation is. I know he's been kind of like a bell cow back here over the last couple of years for these guys, but I don't see it myself either. But in terms of the picks, I'm going to roll with the Saints. I think this is the safe pick. I think their guys on offense are going to be able to battle with that Seahawks defense, who just gave up 45 points this weekend. So I'm going Saints. We already talked Steelers and Buffalo. Let's talk a little NFC North, Bears and Vikings. I am not going for the Bears anymore the rest of the way. I don't care who they play, if they're favored, no matter what. Vikings all the way.
I took the Vikings too. Yeah, I think we all did.
that
Yeah.
makes 3 of us. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's a solid pick here this weekend. But here's another divisional one as well. We got a bunch of divisional. This looks like 4 straight division games here in a row. Let's talk a little Texans and Jaguars. Texans are the underdog here. It's an AFC South matchup. Jaguars at home. I think the Jaguars take this one. How about you guys?
Jaguars.
That makes 3 of us once again.
WP!
Hey, we got to start. We got to stop agreeing with each other here so much. Bush,
I mean, it's just the logic, you know?
yeah, right. Well,
Well,
you and
Bush
Charles
is-
matched up pretty nicely last week, so I got to say. But
But no,
let's
I respect you differentiating yourself, Ben.
yeah, I'm trying to look at it from some different perspectives here. You pull up. Let's just for the hell of it, you pull up last week, and I'm like sitting here like, why the fuck did I take the Bears? and how did we let ourselves believe that the Colts were going to win this game? I mean, you got to think that at some point.
Because they should have.
Well, yeah, but
At
But
home.
that Jets pick was excellent, if I do say
It
so
was, it
myself.
was.
Yeah.
yeah,
It was. I really thought that y'all would pick more too. After
yeah.
I told
I
Well,
thought about it. I did, but let's keep it moving here. We got the Dolphins and the Jets. Tua is officially rolled out for this week. You got Teddy B coming in relief. Jets at home at MetLife, and it's a 3.5-point game. Bush, who you got this week?
I'm going to take the Jets this week.
Okay, Charles, your thoughts, man?
Who did the Jets playing?
The Jets have the Miami Dolphins without Tua.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Jets too.
Jesus.
So I have my slip here. That's the one game I don't have on my slip because I put the slip together every week to put my bets together, and I just
No, just hearing Ben go, Jesus.
I didn't know they were fucking playing this week.
Yeah, I don't think that's one that people are going to be tuning into.
Can I get games
like
that I don't care about for 500, Alex?
Yeah, seriously.
Well, the next one isn't going to be one you maybe care about either. It's another divisional game. Actually, let me back it up. I didn't give a pick, so I'm going to go Miami here.
Jesus.
I just think they're the better team right now. Let's not let the Jets win over the Steelers. Cloud our minds too much. I know Zach Wilson's back. He's led the game-winning drive, but nothing too impressive all around. Let's move on. Falcons, Bucks. Bucks favored by 8.5 here at home. Bucks 0-2 at home this year. Anyone going to surprise us and go Falcons?
I'm gonna put the Bucks.
Come on, Bush.
I'm going to take the Bucks as well. I
Yeah.
don't see it. I think Tampa Bay gets back on track.
Yeah, they got to. Brady ain't losing no 3 games.
He
in a
might
row,
not
man.
play this week. He might be in divorce court with Star Jones.
He's represented by Alex Guerrero. Anyway,
and more ways than
Trainer and lawyer.
more ways than one. Jesus. I'm rolling Bucks as well. Let's talk some Lions, Pats. So I guess we already talked that game.
Yeah.
Titans, Washington. Titans only favored by 2.5 here. That seems like an easy Titans pick, but you guys know the Commanders better than I. What's your take?
I picked the Titans. The Commanders don't got a quarterback.
Not one that's worth a damn, at least.
Yeah.
I know Washington's going to be playing at home, and they desperately need a rebound here. But I think Tennessee's really starting to get going here, especially with Derrick Henry. So all of us are going to agree on this one as well.
Yeah.
And never think about when you think about Washington playing home, never actually consider them playing at home.
No, this will be a Titans home game.
That's
their
true.
last home game. I mean, Nick Sirianni was on WIP the next game, was talking about, the fans at the link were hype, and I'm like, no, it wasn't the link.
Yeah, well, you never know. Those bleacher creatures over there in the West End Zone might have a ploy to knock over a stanchion or two and take out Henry for the game.
The pipes up there.
Yeah, the Titans locker room might be showering and pissing shit, but
did you guys see Dan Snyder on the field with Jerry Jones this past Sunday?
Yeah, what the?
I was like, wow.
Field.
They was talking about hookers.
Grizzly old fucking.
They probably were.
I'm not going to continue to say what I was going to say. So
no, I could now that I could see where you were going with that one.
Fucking asshole. We've spent enough of our fucking breath on that dickhead.
Absolutely.
But let's keep it moving here. Let's finish out here. We got a couple more. Chargers going into Cleveland. Only favored by 3, though. I don't know that the Browns get this one done this weekend. I'm going to roll with the Bolts. How about you boys?
The Chargers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Chargers as well. I mean, I just, when you lose to Atlanta the way you did last week, listen, Cleveland should be 4-0 right now. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. They could very easily. Yeah.
But they don't look like no 4-0 team. They don't.
They look like a team that's needs some rest and a massage. So maybe they should get one of those.
I see what you did
there. Well, as long as Mr. Watson's not around. Let's go Niners and Panthers. Panthers seemingly have 16 straight home games. Jesus Christ. Panthers are underdogs here at home by 6.5. I think this is safe to say San Fran all the way.
Yeah, the NFC West champions. I'm picking them.
Yeah, I'm not picking against the Niners for the foreseeable future. I'm going to take them as well.
Right. I think Garoppolo has added quite a spark to that offense in a way that I don't know in a way that I don't know Trey Lance would have. So,
and the 49ers fans didn't even have to chant.
They didn't.
They did not.
Oh, Levi Stadium was rocking last night, though, man. That defense had the,
Yeah.
Shout out to D'Amico Ryans. We didn't mention that, but man, he's calling a hell of a defense over there.
D'Amico is going to be a head coach one day. Absolutely.
Hell yeah.
And did you hear Troy Aikman on the broadcast? He said that he was happy that he didn't get the Vikings job because he felt like he needed another year on the, coaching.
Right. By all means. I mean, he looks good. Like we talked about, Bosa getting after the quarterback.
Everybody got after Stafford last
hell,
week.
that pick six was that was awesome. And
then
they could have had
one. Niners have a good defense.
They could have had one the next drive too. So, Niners always look good against the Rams, but I got the Niners this week against the Panthers as well. And we've already talked about the next 3, so we'll kind of finish the show up here tonight talking about some Raiders and Chiefs, AFC West Division football, Monday night. Joe Buck and Aikman on the call. You going to watch that, or are you going to watch the Manning cast? And who you voting for this week, Bush?
I'm going to take the Chiefs. Coming to Arrowhead, that is going to be an insane atmosphere. I'm sorry. I mean, the rivalry between the Chiefs and Raiders is as strong as it's ever been right now. Monday Night Football, prime time. You've got Buck and Aikman on the call. Give me Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah. How about the Manning cast, though? Have you tuned into that at all?
Every once in a while, I'll peek in. I look at the Manning cast this way. If your favorite team is playing on Monday night, you're probably not going to want to watch the Manning cast because you want to listen to a broadcast that's objective and calling the game. And, I just think that it can be a little distracting if you're really trying to pay attention to what's going on, especially because they have guests on in the middle of the show. But I think the Manning cast is phenomenal, especially if you're a younger fan and you're trying to learn the game. I mean, who better to learn from than Peyton Manning? And for as many boneheaded interceptions as Eli threw in his career, Eli knows his stuff too. So I think the Manning cast is fantastic. I really do. What a combination.
Charles, your take on the Monday night game this weekend?
Yeah, the Chiefs want to smoke.
Yeah. I ultimately, I think that's kind of where we're at as well. Jerry, chime in, man. I know you're a big Raiders fan. Want to get your thoughts on the game. We'll get it out here. We'll maybe talk about that a little bit. But instead, Jerry throws out a Aikman is god awful in the booth comments.
Oh, you're horrible, Jerry. Your favorite
Uh,
color, the Raiders.
That's
Aikman, look,
I don't agree with that
questionable.
one. Yeah, I don't agree with that one at all.
I have it written down right here that Aikman and Buck have made Monday Night Football watchable again. I didn't fall asleep. I fell asleep.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did not fall asleep on Monday Night Football last May. I can't. Well, the Rams and the 49ers were playing. It was a one-sided game.
It was, but they still kept it good. You know.
I don't know. I think, yeah, I fell asleep on the first one with the Broncos and the Seahawks, but they've been great.
They really have. I think that, Monday Night Football's viewership is way up because of the two.
It has, because they got the best two commentators.
Absolutely.
Raiders not getting it done.
Jerry,
week.
at least you're honest about that one.
And they won't for a while. Nope, they won't.
What about later this year when they take them at the Death Star?
Why don't we remember this comment?
We will. We'll pull it up in a future show.
Yeah. Okay.
So, we're all gonna go Chiefs this
weekend. Love Jerry though. We love Jerry.
Jerry's a good guy.
Jerry's a great guy. Yeah. Jerry's head of security over at Round One where I work. Him and his boy Raddick, they're great dudes. Big football fans. They know their shit. So appreciate you guys chiming in every week. But we got a solid week 5 coming up here, guys. I'll throw up the games here again. I apologize for not having my shit together here earlier at the beginning of the segment, but bunch of good ones this weekend. I think our picks are going to be good. We're hot coming off of a good week 4, but that is what we're rolling with here this weekend, guys. So that is going to wrap it up for this week's show. We appreciate you guys chiming in, commenting, sharing, doing the whole 9. Got a couple new fans tonight too chiming in that I have never before interacted with. So if you watch the show tonight that and you're new, we appreciate you. Follow along, share the show with some of your friends, and we will catch you guys next week. I know it's a little early here on a Tuesday, but we'll get this episode out in podcast form here Thursday as normal. But again, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Bump and Run podcast. We'll see you next week.